Going beyond concordances and statistical measures, what is now computational linguistics? Well, computational linguistics is basically creation of large-scale corpora. Now we are typically talking about data-intensive linguistics, in the sense we are applying linguistic method to billions of words, so development of larger and larger corpora, but also tools for the automatic linguistic analysis of text. We really don't want to explore text only with the word forms, with tokens, but we really would like to have the possibility to process text with respect to their linguistic structures. I'm talking about lemmatization, so going from word forms to lemmas, to morphosyntactic annotations, so distinguish noun from verbs and so on, and to syntactic annotations like parsing to reconstruct the syntactic structure of sentences. And finally, statistical methods to extract information from text and to carry out advanced exploration of the text semantic space. Well, after this brief overview of what is basically what computational linguists are doing nowadays, I would like to focus on a specific model that can be used to explore text, which is so-called word-space models, and present to you an experiment of applying one of these models to a philosophical text, a text by Giordano Bruno, and then smaller experiments carry out on Galileo's Dialogo sopra I massimi sistemi. Okay. So the idea is to say that, to show how advanced models for natural language processing can also apply to text analysis in a way, in a profitable interchange between these two fields. So, why philosophical text analysis? And this I come to the topic of this workshop. Well, because surely they raise some major challenges, in the sense that we can say that every single philosophical text defines its own semantic space, determined by the terms, the concepts expressed by the author. So we want to have tools and ways to explore this space and to see how it emerges from the text. So basically, problems that philosophers and linguists are facing are how can we track the variation of meaning of some notable words within a single text, or also within the text of different authors. But also how to characterize the semantic space of the word polysemy. So we know that words are polysemous. Philosophers are especially interested in polysemy, in the sense that it's often a sign of inner or complexities of the conceptualization of the author. So the problem is exactly how can we explore this type of phenomena in text. The focus of this talk and the experiments I'm presenting is trying to build some what we can call semantic maps from the text. So how to extract the semantic space and a space of semantic association from the text of the author, using a technique which is widespread in computational linguistics, which is so-called computational distributional analysis. And basically, it's just simple statistics, simple mathematics, and simple linear algebra method that can be combined and applied to text, and it can provide us with interesting information. We have, together with some philosophers of the University of Pisa, experts on Giordano Bruno, we have applied this technique on Gli eroici furori, which is a text from the Italian philosopher from the second part of the 16th century. And what the idea was to build a semantic space directly from the text by applying one of these computational distributional methods, which is quite common in the computational linguistics, which is called latent semantic analysis. Well, why Bruno? And then why LSA? Well, Bruno is particularly interesting from the linguistic point of view, exactly because of its language. is a we can say that it's a pre-scientific language in which we talk about different issues about natural philosophy in a language which is a mixture of alchemic and different type of complexities, all expressed in terms of allegoric terms. So this text is full of it's dialogue, but it's full of poems, sonnets, and especially it makes a heavy use of allegorical devices. Okay. And actually, the point is that, well, allegory is the strategy to express the philosophical thought, in a way. So basically, the philosophical concept emerges out of the allegorical space. Basically, well, the main character, one of the characters of this dialogue explains to the other the nosological importance of the loud fury. And basically, there are the rhetorical process of discussing the arguments really I mean, it's based on a lot of word association, of semantic association coming from the text. The most notable one is the use of the term, well, my pointer doesn't work very much, but of the term caccia, hunting. So there is a big part of the dialogue is centered around the myth of Etion, in which the notion of hunting is interpreted as the search for wisdom, in a way. Okay, and basically all the arguments comes around this allegorical device. Well, basically, so Bruno's text is a highly complex and polysemous semantic space. So the problems is that also came, well, actually these works came from a specific question from our philosopher, I mean, our colleagues at philosophy. So we want to explore the semantic space of this author. How can we do this way? Well, they start with the traditional concordance analysis, but they were not satisfied by this. Okay, they wanted something more. So basically, they were also interested in trying to develop a so-called ontology or taxonomy of the concepts, for instance, of the different type of philosophical concepts that were expressed by Bruno. And the promise was, okay, how can we build this ontology? Basically, the idea was, okay, let's try to to find a way to abstract this ontology directly from text. In order to say, let's try to explore, first of all, which type of semantic correlations are used by the author itself. So this is actually a byproduct of a joint venture between philosophers and computational linguists. The tool that we used was distributional semantics. Now, just a few words to give you, to explain you what we intend with this term. Well, basically, the idea, as we will see in the next slide, is in a few slides, is a pretty old one, in the sense that it's the idea that the word meaning depends, at least in part, on the word usages in linguistic context. So basically, we can consider semantic types, so the concept, the meaning of the words, as inductive generalization from text. So basically, the idea is that we start with the word, we look at how the word distributes in the text, and we try to reconstruct or to induce the semantic organization of that directly from the word usage in the context. Well, basically, distributional semantics relies on so-called distributional hypothesis, which, well, it comes in different forms, but the most famous one is the one proposed by, actually, two psychologists, George Miller and Charles. Basically, the distributional hypothesis states that two words are semantically similar to the extent that their contextual representation are similar. Basically, the more two words distribute similarly in text, the more two words will be similar from the semantic point of view. The idea in this sense is that the semantic similarity can be regarded as a sort of dependent variable on distributional correlation. So if we investigate the semantic, the distributional correlation of words in text, we can gain some hints on the similarity relations between these two words.